Hey everyone, it's your Wolf Boy here, and now we have made it to another David's Retrospective. This time, we're here to talk about the sequel to the 2020 smash hit Sonic the Hedgehog. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, this is actually my second time talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on this channel, because the first time I talked about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was Sonic and Sonic's review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I will send a link in the description, and you can check it out if you haven't already. Even though it's got some outdated designs for Sonic and Sonic, and I do the voice of Tails when I don't do the voice of Tails anymore, because doing Tails' voice really does a number on my voice, and that's why I decided to pass the torch on to Sonic Dragon Girl 23 so she could do the voice of Tails from now on. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. After the success of the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie at the box office, a sequel was in order. And thus, on April 8th of 2022, we got Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And that also happens to be the date of the birth of my new channel, but I really don't want to talk about that. But I did manage to go opening night to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And boy was it an experience. All in all, I found Sonic the Hedgehog 2 to be much better than the first Sonic the Hedgehog, but that could all change with Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I mean, in terms of movies, there's Sonic the Hedgehog 3, while Knuckles is a 6-episode miniseries. But yes, Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey returned to voice... No. Damn it! Can't you tell I just woke up and I can't speak proper English? As of this recording right here, Ben Schwartz returns to voice as Sonic, and Jim Carrey returns in the role of Dr. Robotnik. Yeah, James Marsden, Tika Sumpter also make comebacks, and Adam Pally. But sadly, we don't get to see Crazy Carl in this movie. I don't even know what happens to him. Who knows, we might even see him in Knuckles, or even Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I am not quite sure. We also have Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails. Now, Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails in this movie, that was surprising, because I thought Tails would be played by an A-list actor, or actress. But I'm glad they went with Colleen O'Shaughnessy in this movie, because Colleen O'Shaughnessy is definitely my favorite voice of Tails in the video games, and Sonic Boom, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, the biggest surprise in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 would have to be Idris Elba as Knuckles. Now, when it was announced that Idris Elba would voice Knuckles, I was like, oh my fucking god! Because I was very familiar with Idris Elba's work outside of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We have Heimdall from the Thor movies. We got some random sumbitch from Ghost Rider 2 from 2012 that is really bad. We have Chief Bogo in Zootopia. And we have Bloodsport from the Suicide Squad. I think the announcement of Idris Elba as Knuckles... Damn it! I think the announcement of Idris Elba as Knuckles took place while promotion for the Suicide Squad was taking place. I don't remember exactly when, but I remember being very happy and very excited when it was announced that Idris Elba would voice Knuckles. And just like the first movie, the second movie has a whole bunch of Easter eggs, like the Mean Bean coffee shop run by Agent Stone. That's a reference to Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean machine. And of course, the Mushroom Planet where Robotnik was at the very beginning of the movie. It was sort of based on the Mushroom Hill Zone from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I want to say. But yes, Sonic as a vigilante at the beginning of the movie, trying to stop a bunch of robbers and rescuing a guy in a truck, all while making cheesy jokes and quips and all that. I mean, anyone could do that if they wanted to, but they could get in serious trouble for doing that. Like, Sonic often sneaks out at night to fight crime while being very shoddy at it. And Tom is just not having it with Sonic. And in this movie, Tom is more of a father figure to Sonic than a friend. In the first Sonic movie, Tom was just a friend to Sonic, but in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Tom is like a father to Sonic, the father he never had. Same with Maddie as his adopted mother. Well, there's also Alina from Sonic Underground, but that's an entirely different universe altogether. Now, my absolute favorite thing about this movie would have to be Idris Elba as Knuckles, and that's the number one reason why I'm excited to see Knuckles in his own 6-episode miniseries on Paramount Plus, because he was just the highlight of the movie. And yes, I love how Sonic and Tails' friendship develops over time as they get to know each other. While Tails is like, "Get in, I'm on your side!" Yeah, that's what he says, instead of, "Come with me if you want to live!" Of course, in this universe, Tails probably wouldn't be that familiar with the Terminator like Sonic would, because in the first Sonic movie, Sonic watched a whole bunch of action movies and referenced them, including Speed, with Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, and Sandra Bullock. Yes, that is also one of my personal favorite action movies, as I mentioned in my retrospective of the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Now, this movie is all about Sonic and Tails going on a epic adventure, trying to stop Robotnik from wreaking havoc on the world. All while Knuckles is by his side. And Knuckles can kind of be a dumbass at times in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but nowhere near as bad as in Sonic Boom. Type Mana's diving. Sorry, I just got done with dinner. I know earlier on in this video I did say I just woke up, but then in between recordings I had to go to work. But yeah. And one thing about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that bothers me is the whole fucking Hawaii wedding subplot. Like, did it really need to be in the movie? Like, the full film is 2 hours long compared to the first one, which was like 90-something minutes long. I guess they just wanted extra runtime by adding in a unnecessary subplot involving a wedding in Hawaii that, frankly, I didn't give much of a shit about as I used to. But, yeah. A lot of my friends agree that the Hawaii wedding subplot just took away from the enjoyment of the movie, but it didn't take away enjoyment from me because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is my favorite film of 2022. Next to Top Gun Maverick, Avatar Way of Water, The Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, yeah. Personal favorite movie of 2022. So, yeah. Also, Operation Catfish, which is a trap set up by Gunn to try to capture Sonic after the shit that went down in San Francisco. And yes, Guardian Units of Nations, or Gunn, is in this movie. Also, Shamar Moore as the undercover gun agent. I didn't know him from much else before Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but he was in some really good television shows. I think SWAT was one of them. I don't remember much else. I'll have to Google search him sometime and IMDb him. Yeah, but I'm not going to do that right now because we're just here to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But Natasha Rothwell in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. In the first Sonic the Hedgehog, she was kind of a nasty, mean sister to Tika Sumpter's Maddie. And she's the mother to Jojo, the adorable little girl who befriends Sonic and gives him his red shoes. But in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, she definitely has some really damn funny moments. Especially when she wants revenge on Randall, which is Shamar Moore's character, for fucking up her wedding and wanting revenge. And I have no idea what happens to Shamar Moore's character for the rest of the movie because he only appears in Hawaii and that's it. Which I think is dumb. That's so dumb. It's so dumb it's brilliant. No! It's just dumb! And just like the first movie, there are plenty of pop culture references coming out of Sonic's mouth. Well, in the Sonic and Sonic series, there's a bunch of pop culture references that Sonic could easily get away with, but in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they're just kind of out of place for a 90s video game character. Like Channing Tatum, Vin Diesel, The Rock, and all those needle drops, like Uptown Funk during the Pivanka dance sequence in that lodge in Siberia. And I don't remember a whole lot of the other songs that were featured in the movie, but I do know that one of the songs in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was Barracuda. Yeah, Barracuda, that song was featured in a whole bunch of other shows and movies that I'm familiar with, like Shrek the Third, Birds of Prey, and the very first episode of Amazon Prime's The Boys. But in this movie, it works actually very well here. In the context that it was featured in, like, Rachel wanting revenge on Randall for fucking up the wedding. And yes, Sonic and Knuckles are pretty much enemies throughout the first 2/3 of the movie, but then Eggman, or Robotnik, betrays Knuckles by wanting the Master Emerald for himself. Type him out as David. Yes, the main MacGuffin is the Master Emerald. Also, the Chaos Emeralds appear in this movie, but I think the Master Emerald is the big MacGuffin. And it's a lot smaller than the one featured on Angel Island in the games. And I think the 7 Chaos Emeralds are stored inside the Master Emerald. It's been a while since I've seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Unlike the first movie, which I've seen over 20 times, I've only seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2 about 5 times. Well, I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2 twice in the theater. The third time was on Paramount Plus. The fourth time was on Blu-ray. Actually, no. I've seen it 4 times, not 5. I'm getting ahead of myself. I do want to put it on a 5th time after I'm done recording this video, because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, which I think is better than the first Sonic by far. But again, that could all change with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So, yes. I can't think of much else to say, but Super Sonic at the end of the movie was just absolutely wonderful to see. It brought a tear to my eye knowing that this was something I'd been wanting to see on screen for a long time. Seeing Sonic turn into Super Sonic when all 7 Chaos Emeralds surround him and he goes, Shazam! Well, he doesn't actually say Shazam, but even though Sonic is familiar with a bunch of DC characters like The Flash and Batman, he would definitely know who Shazam or Captain Marvel is. So, if he says Shazam, turning into Super Sonic in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I will laugh my ass off. Because this is a joke I'm planning on featuring in my upcoming retelling of Sonic Frontiers. Spoilers. Where Sonic basically shouts Shazam before he turns into Super Sonic. And the Death Egg Robot at the end of the movie. They don't refer to it as the Death Egg Robot, but for old time's sake, I'm just going to call it the Death Egg Robot because Eggman, or Robotnik, uses the powers of the Master Emerald to create a big, giant robot to attack Green Hills. And yes, that giant robot, it didn't technically have a name, but I think myself and everybody else who is familiar with the games would call it the Death Egg Robot, because let's face it looks and acts like the Death Egg Robot from the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Sega Genesis. Typo matters, David. Hang on. But yes, my entire theater lost their collective shit at the very end of the movie when Shadow was revealed. Like, I was so happy, surprised, and elated that Shadow the Hedgehog appeared on screen. Like, everybody in the entire fucking theater just erupted in applause during opening night for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I can only imagine the audience's reaction when they see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on opening night. Because I know for a fact that I will definitely be going to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on opening night. If I have any gripes with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I would say it focused too much on the human aspects, seeing that it's a live-action movie with animated characters like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Well, it's okay with Jim Carrey as Robotnik because, duh, Robotnik and Eggman is one of the only human enemies that Sonic has to deal with all the fucking time. But it is a live-action movie, so there's gotta be live-action characters, but just don't focus on them for a good majority of the runtime. That's one thing about Knuckles and Sonic 3 that kind of concerns me. Seeing that it might focus too much on the human aspects rather than Sonic going up against Shadow or Knuckles fighting off that one lackey who used to work for Robotnik. I think he's called the Buyer. And then there's these two agents. One of them played by Kid Cudi, and the other is a British lady. I don't remember her name. I think it's Agent Mason and Agent Willoughby. Those are the names of the characters. I know the other guy who created the technology to go after Knuckles, his name is the Buyer. Because I've seen some behind the scenes footage of Knuckles. Like, interviews on screen on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm just hoping Knuckles and Sonic 3 don't focus too much on the human aspects. I mean, I'm excited to see Kristen Ritter in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 because I know her well as Jessica Jones from the Marvel series Jessica Jones, because who doesn't think of Jessica Jones when they think of Kristen Ritter? And Donnie Rojas from Ted Lasso. Yeah, my sister showed me Ted Lasso. I mean, I've only seen 2.5 seasons of Ted Lasso before I had to axe my Apple TV subscription. Can't you tell I can't speak proper English tonight? In the hours between recordings, I lost the ability to speak proper English. But yes, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I love every second of it, although there are some gripes with them focusing too much on the human aspects, the live action aspects, and the whole unnecessary Hawaii wedding subplot that took up too much of the fucking runtime. And it would have been fine if it just focused on Sonic and Tails looking for clues about the Master Emerald and why Robotnik is back and why Knuckles is with him. But the whole Hawaii wedding thing was completely unnecessary and took up too much runtime, too much of the runtime, and yeah, that was my only problem with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just that entire subplot. Everything else, it was great. It made me so friggin' happy. And it made a whole lot of Sonic fans happy too, because of all the Easter eggs, the characters, they got the personality traits just right. And Sonic can't swim, and Tails can fly a plane, which sadly is not the tornado, but it's close enough. There's the Death Egg Robot, and then Super Sonic, and fucking Shadow. I can't wait to see who voices Shadow. I've been dying to know for the past few months now who would be voicing Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Once we get more information on that, I will get back to working on my review of the Shadow the Hedgehog game on PS2. I took a pause from playing that game so I could focus on some other games and such, like Splatoon 3 Side Order, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom, to name a few. So yes, that concludes my retrospective on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I just wanted to put together retrospectives on this movie and the first Sonic movie to get ready for not only Knuckles, coming on April 26th, but also Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So yes, what are your favorite moments from Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Did you like it? Did you find something wrong with it? Did you like it better than Sonic 1? Do you like Sonic 1 better than Sonic 2? What are your memories from seeing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in the theater, or just seeing it for the first time on any platform, be it in the theater, on Paramount Plus, or just digital or Blu-ray and all that? What are your favorite moments from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and what are your favorite memories from seeing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the first time? And did it meet your expectations? Did it exceed your expectations? Were you disappointed by it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. And stay tuned for all my other videos coming soon, like my reviews of the other X-Men movies, and Golden Eagle's Wedding, Sonic the Hedgehog vs. the World, and all those other projects that I've been working on that I can't wait for you guys to see. So yes, stay tuned for my spoiler discussion of Knuckles with all 6 episodes coming towards the end of April, beginning of May. I'll keep you guys posted. Till then, this is your friendly neighborhood wolf boy signing off. Goodbye!